their language, deciphering the language and what they were talking about. But actually the signs, they have many symbols. Like we have 26 letters in the alphabet. They have like 4,000 different symbols, or 400 different symbols, I forget. I'm not an expert in that field, but they actually will show like beings with wings, with halos, with beings in what looks like spaceships, and they're all over everywhere. And I believe, I was telling Justin this morning, a funny fact I came upon is that Saddam Hussein, they had a lot of these artifacts in Iraq, and Saddam Hussein was going to make an amusement park around them. And, coincidentally, they had the Iraq War, and Saddam Hussein was taken down, and England, the British Museum, has all the artifacts right now. And there's thousands and thousands of artifacts of the ancient things that actually depict the Anunnakis, our DNA, and the story of how we were created, the creation story. Like 7 days in the week, and the 12 months in the year, the 12 signs of the zodiac, all of our mathematics, all of our language, all of that that we have in modern times right now come from the ancient Sumerians, which depicted from past civilizations were the Anunnaki. So we call it Planet X. Some people call it the Black Star. It will have, as it's coming to make this cycle now, it will have a gravitational effect on us. Electromagnetic fields are already feeling the effect of it. It could be catastrophic. That's why we have this little pole here. There's many different scenarios. It just depends on how close and what side of the sun it comes on to us. And so we don't really have it in full view, but I believe by 2010 or the end of this year, we're going to start to see a little glow, a little red glow in the sky, and that's probably going to be the first signs that we're going to hear about this planet coming close to us.
And you know what fascinates me about the Anunnaki and the work of Zecharia Sitchin? It just completely blows me away. This is the first ancient civilization. It's about 6,000 years ago or so. This is before the Egyptians, before the Babylonians and all that. You got the ancient, they're called the Sumerians, from Sumer. And this race, on these tablets, there's not many people that could decipher these tablets to begin with. But Zecharia Sitchin is a scholar in this field who has been doing so for over 40 years. That's a dedication of a lifetime to deciphering these hieroglyphs and what this really means. And he puts it together, and there's 7 tablets deciphering them, and on these tablets, they already have the sign for DNA. That means they already knew about DNA and, genetically engineering the human race. They were more advanced back then, 6,000 years ago, than we are today. And that just blows me away, how they could know about that from, back then, and we're just figuring this stuff out.
Right, and I think they're saying now it predates back like 12,000 years ago. I mean, as when the archaeologists put it, when they first started discovering these things, as they were birdmen, these were ancient Stone Age people, they didn't take at face value for what they saw. And so they didn't have the carbon dating and all the testing that they do now. So now they're finding that these pyramids and these ancient Baghdad battery, I don't know, they even think they had electricity at the time. There's all these artifacts that depict these things. Interesting thing, if you go into like the Pyramid of Giza, if you shut off, all the lights that they have on right now, it is pitch black. There's no way you could even light a match to see anything. But how did they see in those days? They had to have some form of electricity because there's no sign of any torches that were being lit in those early tombs. And they're not actually tombs. They were powerhouses, I think, for the Anunnaki. And then the Egyptians came along and used them for their tombs. But there's no hieroglyphics in there stating that this is Queen so-so and king. So you think that, you know, they would put down, just like we do in our burial sites, who it is that they're burying there, because it came from before that. And all the pyramids, they're all over the earth, have one thing in common. I think they're on a ley line or a grid line of 19.5. I know fractal geometry, they figured out the exact, so they're on the exact spot, 19.5, and they're all facing, they're about 1/10 of a degree off true north. So this is one thing that they all have in common. They're all facing the star system for Orion, their constellation. If you go back and see back down, you know, 4,000 years ago, or how many years ago when they had did their alignment, that the constellations would have been directly, exactly lined up. So we're 1/10 of a degree off now, because we are, and that's the best of our ability.
That's amazing. The mathematics behind every single pyramid facing the same exact way. It's just like volcanoes, they're the same exact way as well, all pointing in the same exact degree, because there's some sort of energy. There's an energy grid on our planet Earth. You know, just like the chakra system built into the human body, there's a chakra system built into the earth as well, and there's 7 different continents that are the energy centers, you know, for this stuff. So by, you know, aligning a pyramid or a volcano at a certain angle, there's something going on with energy. If you really study the pyramids and the ancient pyramids from Egypt and all that stuff, there was a capstone that they put at the top, like a crystal or a granite, you know, a natural substance, and this created some sort of light. Like the pyramids were really created to reach like some state of enlightenment. It was an energy thing, not like a burial tombstone like we're depicted in our history books. It's just all backwards. And that gets me talking about Michael Jackson again. I was watching something yesterday. Michael Jackson was enlightened because he's saying what you learn in your history books in school is all wrong. It's there to mislead you. These are the words of Michael Jackson. What I was finding out last night, he was talking in front of huge groups of people, enlightening the masses. It's like, I think he recognized what was going on with, you know, inside the music industry. He realized all the evil and how it was ran, and he was, you know, even though he went along with it for so many years, it got to the point where he was sick and tired of the bullshit, and that's pretty apparent just watching his work. But back to the Anunnaki, I had to just throw that in there. Got me thinking.
You know, how could they make, I think they calculated they would have to do 20 stones, or a stone every 20 minutes or something like that.
In order to build them.
To build this pyramid, it would be virtually impossible with pulleys and ropes and things that of that nature. They had to have some technology that we don't have